This is iRacing.
It's crunch time in the championship. Championship leads have changed once again, and we're getting to the nail-biting stage. So what better track to come to? The home of European endurance racing, the home of racing drama. It is the Red Bull Ring here for the IMSA Vintage Series, and it's live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. I am Craig King. Joining me in the booth is Howie Burrows, using our director, Daniel Costello. We will be using him today. He'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. In the old days, it was the A1 ring. Before I got into F1, it was the Osterich ring. Now, it's Red Bull Ring. To find out more about this fantastic track in the hills of Spielberg, we go to the GSRC track guide.
Welcome to the Red Bull Ring. Located near Spielberg, Austria, this track began life in a much more fast and sweeping format. Having gone through multiple different owners, it eventually was snatched up by Red Bull and has its 3 different layouts you see today. While they range roughly between 1 to 2.5 miles in length, the thing they hold in common are fast straights, hard braking zones, and very few corners. In fact, the longest and most common layout, the Grand Prix course, has only 9 of them. Spots like Remus and Gosser are the most popular corners for overtakes, but both involve dramatic elevation changes. Each have their perils. Remus tends to see drivers make contact when the blind cutback often goes wrong, whereas Gosser tempts you into braking far too late, and the downhill nature shoots cars miserably into the gravel. A few swift bends still scatter the track, with turns like Lauda, Rent, or A1 really testing a driver's accuracy at high speeds. However, most of them don't send you off into the grass. Rather, there is a lot of paved runoff. But they often include some nasty curves most cars will want to avoid hitting, as they've been known to damage suspension and undertrays. A variety of types of racing compete here, with everything from lower Formula open-wheelers to motorcycles, touring cars, and all the way up to Formula One holding events regularly. Set among the gorgeously picturesque Alps, and including great racing on a challenging and history-rich circuit, it's easy to see why fans and drivers are both eager every time they come for a race.
Well, Howie, it might be a Tilke track, but it's still a great little track to do some racing on.
There's nothing like it, and it's a bit of a historic classic despite its modern layout nowadays. You'd think this track would be easy to make multi-class work on. 2 very long straights, make it 3 really, and some very tight turns, but I think a lot of cars are going to get caught up in that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 complex. I get caught up enough times there as a prototype myself. Plenty of dramatic dives, I think, are going to play out throughout the length of this entire race. And we're going to see battles that go all the way down to the wire in both classes if they can both make it to the end.
Yeah, if they could make it all to the end. And speaking of the end, keep an eye out on those final 2 corners at Jochen Rindt at 9 and then at turn 10. And talking of 10, we got 10 drivers in the championship. And, oh, it's a close championship. Look at it. No Valenteus today, so he will sacrifice the 2-point lead to Jacob Reed. But that's all right because he's still 26 points ahead of Gabriel Martinez. Lesser Jack just behind as well. And really, the 4 cars there have been battling it out at the top all season. Daniel Ricciardi, a very impressive P5. Also the junior championship as well. Brendan Lynn will be 6th. Seamus Power just holding up the bottom of the top 10 with Matthew Cockerham right behind. Farron Grau and Jack Wells are tied. If you're curious, right behind them, it's Javier Mascara 6 points behind. So it is still close out there. The GTOs, Howie, just as close.
There's tension all the way to the end of the season. Noel Lundberg only has 9 points over Jeroen Van Hicks, and Cal Young is only 3 behind that. But gap's bigger out from there. Mickey Friesen takes up 4th, but then it's tied up again. Nico Costello, Andreas Schuster, Fabian Junbluff, Josephine Becker, Romain Bello, and Martin Krajcik all have some place to fight for on this championship table with a few weeks to go.
That's what I love about the GTO. It's always so close in those battles. But as we said, it is crunch time. Round 8 in the championship. Still 40 minutes. Got an hour-long race waiting to happen at the end of the season. Open setups. So use the setup you make, or one you find, or one the community provides. But if you crash, the day is done. There is no spare car out there today. Drive-through at 17 incident points. Disqualification at 25. I'm going to say drivers at the bottom of this field probably will be flirting with that drive-through, with just how aggressive you can take some of these curbs. And some of these drivers are taking all the curves they want right now in qualifying, because the first few laps are rolling away. David Ricciardi currently pole position in the GTPs, right ahead of Brendan Lim, but the times will drop down later on, because we've yet to see the likes of Jacob Reed set his first lap, and now Serato goes fast. And there's a nice little car that we know it is. It's Gabriel Martinez coming through that tricky infield.
Downforce cars love this track. They love flying around some of the medium to high-speed turns throughout the middle and really sending it up and down these hills. Those GTOs are going to really be scrambling for grip in the middle of the track, I think. They're going to have to use all of it, and even the brakes on these cars. I struggle on the brakes on these cars sometimes, which is probably a skill issue, and I'm going to tell you the drivers here are a lot better than that, but it's going to be a lot of very dramatic stopping and turning to make these corners. First laps on the board, Jacob Reed is very fast, very big gap. We're going to see if the other drivers will catch up in time.
Yeah, well, we just see Jacob Reed. We also saw there that turquoise car, Toga Husada, not one we've looked at for a while in IMSA Vintage, making the way down, and that's what Jacob Reed's doing right now as he makes his way down into turn 4, known as Rouch. So let's see what he gets to do. A lot of steering in as he goes there. Remember what happened to Lando Norris with a little bit of a battle with, I think it was Perez or Sainz there years ago. You won't be seeing that today. Then hard down into turn 6. Use all the runoff here before you get to turn 7. You go a bit too far, it will be an off track, and then open up the throttle now. Straight there through into 7 and 8. And now into 9. Very tricky corner because you want to keep the speed up, and you want to use all the space you can. Little bit of a twitch there I saw. Had to delay the turn in. Really aggressive on the outside here. Don't run over the white curves. Here he goes through 10. He's looking to improve on his time, and improve he does by a 10th. And he's already 3 tenths up. Just like I say, that Gabriel Martinez out of nowhere, right on the heels of him.
But just not close enough on that last lap. You can just give away millimeters, and that's that. Only a few drivers really are running their next laps on the book. Actually, is Martinez on another time? Well, yes, he is. He's won that time lap behind. I can get the words out eventually, I promise. GTO's also having fun on the field, though, with a little spread of their own.
Yeah, Noah Lundberg, sorry. Not setting a lap yet. Remember, the defending champion, he sets his first lap invalid. So he's only got 1 lap to go out there. It's going to be very interesting. Jack David Spickett just having a minor complaint about his gearbox. I'm not sure if that was his shifter or the gearbox in the virtual Audi GTO. Don't attack the virtual Audi GTO. You've got to be a little bit calm. JD Rodriguez now going pole in the GTOs. And here's the differences you're going to see. Braking so hard, the rear starting to slide a little bit here for Lundberg as he tries to get this sorted down. JD just ahead, by the way. That is, timing is correct. Both top spots very close as Gabriel Martinez will come across the line. It is faster. He only needs to find a 10th. He found it by the barest of margins.
He was dipping above and below that 10th for the entire lap, according to data I was looking at. And I really thought there was a chance he wouldn't make it, but momentum out of that last turn gets it done. Few lappers left to go on the track. Here's Noel Lundberg, who didn't get a legal lap the first time around. He needs to get something on the board. You do not want to start the back of a GTO field over here, but I mean, second fastest driver in the lobby. There's high expectations to get this one done.
High expectations, and again, look at the difference between those GTPs and GTOs. They're not exactly very friendly of this track because you've got to put a lot of braking force and just roll the car around the corners. They don't like that. What have you got, Noel? You are the champion, and the champion is only 6th place out there. Not the qualifying he wanted. He's only 3 tenths off. And you look at the top 10, you look at basically the top 10, just 2 cars are separated by more than a 10th in the top 10 of the GTOs. Massa is coming around now, the Italian. got one more lap. Actually, he's got a black flag, so I think he's just doing some practice laps out here today because I think he exited the pits unsafely, and some drivers will do that just because they want to start at the back, or they also just want to use this time for a little bit of training. Emilia Dechari doesn't need the training. Been out here today. Argentina, one more time to go. There he was very quickly. And he'll come across the line with an invalid lap. Wasn't looking forward to that, but that will be all she wrote. Actually, I tell you what, I see a rare Aitor Sintez Galindo just crossing the line, doing some practice, but we have got our cars ready to go on the grid. And it will be Gabri Martinez leading them away from Jacob Reed in the GTP. So I'll get you those GTPs. Howie will get you those GTOs. We will make one big grid of 48 cars today. Gabri Martinez from Jacob Reed in the GTPs, and it'll be Jack Wells right behind with Fernando Serrato with a fantastic time in 4th. Laus Olsen, the arm is getting better. He's in 5th. Ferran Grau will be 6th, and Togo Hisada will be 7th. David Ricciardi will be 8th. Brendan Lynn takes 9th. Fabio Dam will be in 10th. And then we've got 2 more pages just about, but we don't have a full qualifying set here. Seamus Power will be 11th with Daniel Gomez in 12th. And then Hamilton Barrera Ruiz will be in the unlucky 13th. Yuri Ekstrom will be in 14th with Andre Felipe Diaz 15th. Harry George will take 16th with Alexander Good in 17th. The last of the time qualifiers, because Victor Rodriguez Carrera will be 18th. Hugo Hernandez Salvador 19th. Diego Pereira will be in 20th. And 2 names on the next page, which will be Ignacio Sanchez Ruiz and Kleber Botaro Mora, will be 22nd.
Over in the GTOs, JD Rodriguez in the 10 car leads the field over Cal Young on the first row. Then Andreas Schuster and Joran Van Hicks. Mickey Friesemann and Noel Lundberg line up 5th and 6th, the champion, looking to want to make up some places. Then it's Josh Brains and Shady Ahmad and Altruis Kundeles and Josephine Becker. There's another 14 cars on the field just behind. Jack David Spickett is in 12th. Roman Bello is in 12th. Martin Krajcik is next to David De Silva on the next row, and on row 8 is Ian Haycox and Emilio Dechari. Foreign Polik and Brandon White. Aitor Sintez Galindo in 19th with next to Fabian Jongluft in 20th. And just a couple more. Joni Berg sits in 21st. Richard Hinneman in 22nd. Cameron Wilson in 23rd. And Gabor Gombos in 24th. Worth noting, 5 GTPs start behind these drivers, with Edwino Massa and David Tomaski starting among them.
It would be nice if that was true. Unfortunately, no, they will be in front of them, not to worry. Big developing news, because we were looking at practice before the race, and I was seeing Valenteus driving, and then Valenteus wasn't in the session, and we've been talking about that. He's not here this week. He's sacrificing points. Let's just do it. We've all done it ourselves, so there's no shame in this. Valenteus forgot to hit the sign-up button. We've all been there. We have all been there, Howie. We've all made that mistake.
Absolutely. There is one series I sort of chase down every single week. It's at least they run every other hour, so I can get to the next one. If you miss your only SOF, you're probably kicking yourself for the next week. Although I do wonder if this is going to be one of those chaotic races to remember out here on the track. A little bit of everything happens at the Red Bull Ring, and as I said, you think it'll be very easy for multi-class, but I always find it to become a bit of a scramble.
Not a bit of a scramble. I just want to say, I know we don't have the up-to-date version of the Red Bull Ring. Not that there is an updated racing version for cars. But it's one of those things where there is now chicanes for motorbikes at the Red Bull Ring. I got to say, I would love just to see that on cars. It's too tight. Let's see it. Let's just see what happens when you throw those chicanes in. Alas, we've got the long run down into AMS for turn 3 as the drivers come on down to the infield. I call it the infield. It is the inside area. Probably the only parts of the track that remain the same when they converted it into this shorter layout when it was the A1 track back in the A1 ring. Sorry, I was going to say A1 Grand Prix. That was a different thing altogether. The A1 track back in 96. So you can just see how tight it is. And you can see how tight it is for the GTOs as well as the GTPs. Gabri Martinez, Jacob Reed, last time they were battling against one another, it was a last corner lunge from Martinez to take the victory away from Jacob. might need that today. It's going to be very tight. 23 Celsius is the track temp. That's 73 Fahrenheit for those over the pond. And Gabri's going to control the field like he's got the right to, as the iRacing Porsche safety car will get ready to go into the lane. Legally into the pit lane, unlike some people getting their drive-through penalty for that. He won't need to worry about it. Gabri's going to wait, and he's probably just going to wait for Jacob to just make a mistake here, and Jacob's waiting. Now goes Gabri. He gaps pretty well. Jacob just has to yield to that. The rest of the field going to be stayed 2 by 2, going down into Nicky Lauda. Maybe an overtake in the background from Jack Wells. Holds on to that move. He does indeed. Almost 3 wide in the background. One car going a little bit wide. Not a good run out of turn 1 for Togo. GTOs, they're single file.
GTO's able to start out of that last turn. Most of them single filed out pretty quickly. And in a very pit border, JD Rodriguez and Cal Young leading the top 2 with Schuster and Van Hicks just behind. A little bit of scrambling further down the hill among those drivers that are sort of in the field, as I think a GTP just got around and gone right to the back. Is that Hugo Hernandez Salvador at the back of the field? He's going to have to work his way up through all of them right about now. There's actually a few GTPs as well. Thiago, Pierre and Brendan Lim there having their own incident, already ending up in the middle of this battle up at the front of the field.
Yeah, it was Brendan Lim, went very hot to try and outbrake Toga Hisada. Went so hot, Toga tried to get around him, and Brendan just kept on going and going and going, and he lost. And Brendan went all the way to the back of the field, had to take it de facto 3 wide to get past Pereira, also holding up the drivers. Cal Young in the GTO, losing out to a slowdown because of that. Salvador now taking a tow in the GTP. The front of the field, Jacob Reed leads them on, but no, Lundberg, not the start he wanted. Already down 1. Van Hicks, big charger, up 2. So is Spickett, so is Brandon White. They're up 2. A lot of drivers up +3, even a couple +4s in the GTPs. But now comes the boring part of the hot part of the GTO. Welcome to the Audi train, and it's a very long train to begin with.
This is the peaceful part of your life before you get swamped by hornets. I think you end up taking everything you can get. Here's past the 20th in the back, still going to be side by side. There might be a little bit of an advantage of running behind someone, but I don't imagine these cars being terribly drafty. I think you just really need to focus on your own life right now and try to make sure that you are in a good place for when all the GTPs come flying through in an absolute mess. There are good places to pass it. If they come at you in these long straights, it's going to be no problem at all. If they come at you in the middle of the track, they're going to be itchy to get past and get very, very impatient and frustrated about it.
Yeah, and that's what's going to have to happen. A lot of gravel still getting kicked up on the track. Roman Bello losing out to Shadi Ahmad, and Josephine Becker getting past them as well. Lars Dawson, very nice to see Lars back after his injury. And that's Fernando Torato with a slowdown into, I believe that would have been the final curve. Oh, watch out there. Ricciardi almost went into the back of Laus. Manages, I don't know how, he did Tanyo with Laus there and spin him round. He avoided it. He lost a couple positions. That's okay, though. He managed to keep things clear. Quick look at a replay here. This was Brendan Lim, and that's Hisada right there. And he tried to outbrake him, and he realized he's gone too much. He tried to slow the car down. That was not Hisada hitting him. That was just a general twitch of the car once he went around, and a couple of drivers also spinning themselves out there to make it through. Lundberg watch back up to P6. So now he's trying to charge. But again, the whole GTO field in a train, except for JD Rodriguez on his own.
I'm already seeing a few GTOs use all the runoff available in the in the first turn as well. Cundelis sort of smashing into the side of Josh Brain, doesn't quite get past that. Might have to back in behind again. Jack David Spickett's view from behind it all here. Yeah, already some GTOs are going very wide in these turns, all the way into the runoff, all the way into absolute off-track territory. You only get 17 jokers and actually 4 contacts, so you've got to be really, really mindful about how much of the track you actually end up using here. I mean, the brakes are certainly decent, but you're going to get yourself slowed and turned in this all-wheel drive beast.
Well, change in the lead of the GTPs. Jacob Reed decided to play Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Other skating games are available. He lost the lead out of turn 1. Fernando Serrato looking to try and get some spots back, but trying to do it around the outside of AMS. very tough. He just went for a little bit of a board slide. Calm down, boys. The Winter Olympic is on, but it's the skiing, not the snowboard at the moment. So Serato gained that spot, went a bit too hot in to make the move, and now Ricciardi very deep in. You've got to be careful making moves like that. I know I joked about it. That was similar to what happened as well with Lando Norris years ago. A couple other drivers. You can make the dive there, but you've got to control the car. The car did not look very controlled there. Talking to a man looking to get some control. Togo Husada, this is just vibes for him today. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning, I think, or 3 o'clock in the morning in Japan right now. He's just having a bit of fun this weekend.
Just coming off a thrilling P2 in the Grand Prix Legends earlier today, and I think if he wants a relaxing race to jump into, he might have ended up in the wrong place, although he is in the faster class indeed. Jacob Reed still on the rear of Gabriel Martinez, hasn't been able to make the move yet, but keep an eye on that. It can happen at any point in this track. Very much encourages the art of the dive bomb, as we've seen already. Reed is a very strong driver. I don't think he'd throw it away for something silly, but sometimes anyone can do anything around here.
Jacob Reed, with his expertise, I mean, he's got expertise everywhere now. He's having that tag now of being one of those top vintage drivers. But he's one of those drivers that have done the iRacing Grand Prix Series, won it twice, and came second last season. So he knows this track because he's raced it a lot. Josephine Becker knows this track from other races she's done. Got to get past Arturus Kundalis in the green and Josh Brain in the restaurant with the golden arch, as they would say in some places, but the red and yellow car there, and Josephine just buying her time and taking it easy there with the braking, not going for an aggressive brake, knows it can't make a move, just hoping that Josh can get by. But remember, Kundalis, he's still got at the top of his car the championship crest when he won a couple years ago. He is still a champion, even though he isn't at the front. That doesn't mean anything. You've still got to give that respect. And that's what all these drivers are doing. But right now, trying to catch up with Jack, not catching up enough.
Give it 1 or 2 corners, and Gabriel Martinez will be running into the field of GTOs. You can basically see him out of his front windshield, and there's a lot of speed down these straight. That's kind of limit the pits. I think he took some damage when he went over another car. Didn't look significant to me, but I'm assuming there might be some extra wheel damage to that. Now I think Gabriel is there, up on the rear of the last GTO in line. It's easy to get these on the exits of straights, but that's 2 sort of blocking the road, and he doesn't take the gap in the middle. That's contact. Reed almost takes the chance, but the gap then closes for him. Up the inside goes Martinez, now damaged on the front. Reed completely loses out. Mod by Jack Wells, mod by Farron Grau with 1 go.
Everybody was getting a little bit tense there, a little bit nervous, and the lane at the thing is, hold your line. That's what they say to the Audis. And a lot of drivers holding their line and trying to battle, and Gabriel was like, I need to go. Jacob got held up there, lost a couple positions. He's not going to be worried too much because there is a whole 21 more GTOs to get through. Lead battle going on right now. It's that Jack Wells going for the lead. It is. And a little bit of a push off there. Managed to get by, but Gabriel left in the room. He left the room as well behind, side by side. Jacob Reed's going to get past Farron Grau. He'll have the inside. Farron will just let that go. There are more important fights later on. Here comes Gabriel. Not a good try to make a move around the outside of turn 3. He doesn't make it, but all the drivers just slow up for a moment. They got Fabian Jungluth coming. Jack's giving the room. Gabriel will have the middle. The inside's going to belong to Jack. And Gabriel's gone late for the braking. He's overcut the tyres. There's a two slow GTOs going. Welcome to Camel Chaos.
I'm watching Jacob Reed here. I feel like he wants to become a part of this anytime soon. Joining the back of that pack, and you don't want to send 3 cars flying through in this sector. 2 up the inside. Jacob Reed can't. Farron Grau almost takes the gap. This feels quite desperate, even from the fastest drivers. Reed's held up. Reed's held up hard. Farron's going to take that up front. Gabriel Martinez going to keep that place. I'm already hearing consternation though between some of these cars on the track, not even the ones we're seeing here, but there's stuff happening everywhere now. The whole field is coming through, and we are getting a little bit of that chaos.
Well, it wouldn't be an IMSA Vintage without it, but this is multi-class at its best and at its most hectic. Farron Grau manages to outbrake Jacob Reed, taking the middle of 3 to get that, but look at this as they run down. they've only got through 14 of the 26 GTOs. You're not missing a lot for the rest of the field, because now you've got Olsen, you've got Serato caught into all of this right now. They're just ebbing and flowing and almost up top 10 bunched up here. It really is a little bit chaotic. One clear denominator is Gabriel Martinez is in the lead. Jack Wells has capitalized on some traffic, and Jacob Reed, a man who we have talked about for seasons for his expertise in the traffic, not having the best day out here.
It seems to be, if you just get in the wrong place in this section of the track right here, you either just give up places or you wreck a GTO. And preferably, we try to avoid the second option when at all possible. They're now running single file. I wonder when the next move is going to be. It could be the Jack Wells. Oh, I thought he was going to do something silly up there, but he isn't. Gap's open for him on the inside. We're just getting around more and more and more cars. We're coming into them on the straights, but I see a big group at the end of this straight, which is going to become a problem if they bump into them in a turn.
Wait and see, Jack Wells get past, that's important. Now, Gabriel Martinez does have a little bit of damage on the nose. I wonder if that's going to be an issue. Now you see Grau having to try and make some defense here. Where is that? Where is Kundal is going? Neither Grau or Reed know where he's going there, and that may allow Reed to do it in front. More chaos happening in front. The battle for the GTOs at almost 3 wide. They're about to hit this. Gabriel's going to have to try and find some space around there. Meanwhile, behind, Seamus Power also looking for some moves out there, looking to see what he can do. Serato trying to get past Lance Olsen. That Seamus Power right behind. The traffic is working for Gabriel Martinez. It's not for the other drivers. Serato still looking to make it, and look at the tune. Everybody's bunched up in front, and everybody's almost got into each other. This is mental, and I don't mean that insulting to any of the drivers. It's just, where do you look? Where's the space? Howie, I pay you. You called it.
Jacob Reed almost losing it under brakes right behind another car. He's lost a lot of time, more than usual, behind some GTOs on the way. A lot of these cars have settled out in their rhythm, but where you see some cars making through those GTOs, just assume that it's happening behind as well, and it is just as ridiculous. The top two, Gabriel Martinez and Jack Wells, are separated out on their own, with Farron Grau, Jacob Reed and Lance Olsen all sort of with a bit of a gap that they can bring back up. But that top two are running away, and they're going to have a bit of a duel until they meet the next traffic that splits them apart again. Is Togo Histada still 11th on the track, looking for a pass past Hamilton Ruiz. There's another GTP in the way. That's David Riccardi with damage on the rear. That actually, I think Riccardi is the driver that Brendan Lim drove into earlier. We didn't get a replay of it, but that's when he went down to the pit with damage. But we're now among the GTOs again, and it's like being stuck in LA traffic.
Yeah, it could be. David Ricciardi, by the way, was actually damage caused by a GTO, not caused by Brendan Lim. As he looks on, Toga Histada trying to find a move. Toga Histada around the outside of Pereira Ruiz. That's a move. And also around the outside of Mickey Friesen. And he has to then go around the outside of Schuster. Toga Histada finds a gap. The GTOs go take the gap. And he just makes the move of the day already around the outside of 6 with traffic. And then utilizes the traffic to go around the outside of 7. Brilliant move. Josephine Becker, I'm just looking down the timing tower, was making moves, losing out, but here comes Jacob Reed. They're out of traffic now, got the run, and I don't think Farron's going to do much about this. He can defend it, but they're going to be side by he lifts, and I think that's wise. Lifting right away, because with 26 minutes to go, they know they got more time, they know they've got more battles left on. Why fight now? Use the silver standard. If we call Valentine the gold standard, it's an insult to Jack, but we can call it Histada's gone around. Hey, what has happened here to Toga Histada? He's gone around. Is that on the braking? No, it was an incident with David Ricciardi.
That actually is the contact. That actually is the contact with another car. I'll get one call right today eventually, I promise. Still a lot happening in the GTOs, would you believe it? They're not just the victims of circumstances. Johan Van Hecks chasing down Cal Young. It's a lot harder to set up a move in these cars, really, because of the way you have to approach these corners and lumber through them. You're not going to get a dive bomb done. You're not going to get an agile move done. You really do have to just sort of wait for a mistake up ahead. it's unusual to say that the Red Bull track ring is a track you don't pass on. It's very, very, very unusual. But I imagine these cars are going to struggle to make the bold moves on each other. They're going to just have to play it slow and patient and careful. And GTPs are going to be a part of that mixture for them.
Well, last year, and I don't mean last season, I actually mean last year, this series, they used this track for an hour-long endurance race, and that actually opened up different strategies. And we know that overtaking is going to happen on the straights here, going into turn 3, going down into turn 4. We know that, but it was interesting to see that actually play out like it did last year when this was an endurance round. It's not at the moment. This is Togo Hisada looking to make the move on Ricciardi here. Now, this is a rookie mistake. Togo goes over to look for the move, and I don't know if David's done a block or went to go, hang on, I'm going to pull off because I don't have the top speed with this damage. That's a lot of damage to go there. Togo somehow did make contact. No damage to the car apart from a lot of scraping on the nose. Still in with the race, but not where he wants to be at the moment. But that was just a really, just a really rookie mistake there from Ricciardi.
These things can happen under pressure, but I've been flying under pressure as well, by the way, as Jacob Reed makes the pass there for P2 with Jack Wells. The battles are all back on, and Gabriel Martinez is it's more like Jack Wells is really sort of caught back up to the back of this. Eventually, I'm going crazy today. IMSA Vintage is a crazy day. We're having a bad one. The top two got away by over a second, and now we've pressed back up again with 4 cars in this chase. If we were back at the start of the race again, and whether it'll expand out again or compress back in, really time will tell, but it's crazy. There's no such thing as running away of domination here today.
Well, he's not going to be running with the wolves, he's running away from the wolves, and that's what he's trying to do. But in front of him, I see blue, and that means there are lap cars coming up ahead. They are ready. Yes, they've only just finished the lap traffic. They're back on it again. Half of this track now is full of GTOs. I'm looking at the clearest spot on the track. It's between turn 3 and turn 4. That's what's happening right now. A mistake there from Martinez. He may lose out to Jacob, but Jacob, with his expertise, the years of knowledge around here, decides it's not worth trying to make that move down into Jochen Rindt at turn 9. He's just going to wait. He sees 2 cars up ahead. Baron Grau as well. Keep your eyes on that in a moment. He's just had a slowdown going through the final corner. He may be losing out on P4 to Laus Olsen if he's not too careful. But a good run from Gabri, and that's going to allow a little bit of the bleeding to stop. Meanwhile, talking of bleeding to stop, Jack David Spickett has just got part Schuster, just got part Mickey Friesen. He bought one, he got one free, and he's managed to get this car up into 4th place.
Good pace seems to be paying off for JDS. Started 11th, made it up some very, very good distance, and I think even more could be within his grasp, just given the chaotic nature of this race. But it's a big, big 4-car train with Noel Lundberg at the very back. Beautiful on-board shot there over the windshield. We're in that phase where actual drivers might start making the moves I said weren't very likely, but every time you think about one, there comes a cheese wedge to break it up in the middle. I sort of thought that maybe Andreas Schuster would do something, but now you have a GTP that you sort of have to yield to. It's easy on the straights, that'll be done before the corners. When they show up onto corner entry, you sort of just have to abandon shit in the moment and hope you don't die.
No, you don't want to be doing that out there today. Yuri Wickstrom has taken a tow. The white smoke has come out. Unfortunately, it's a blown engine. Noel Lundberg, not where the champion wants to be. Not making the moves today. Shadi and Matt had a moment out there as well. Just a little bit of a spin. Was that a little bit of damage I saw on the front there? Might just be a spin himself. Get back to the leaders. Martinez has to defend on the inside. He has that damage. Going to try and outbrake Jacob. And he outbrakes himself so hard that he's gone a bit too wide. And it's almost like the switchback has worked. But Gabri's gone straight on the defense. He's had to take this defense. Fabian Jungbluf hits that GTO right in front. Don't think Fabian's going to get involved in this. Not again for Jacob. He's got to feel that somehow he doesn't need to be blocked in anymore. But great holding from Fabian. He allows the middle to open up for Jacob. That's smart multi-class racing there from both drivers. And Gabri just got mugged.
Certainly not over for him, but Jack Wells has just appeared on the scene. He saw a little front of his car in the back, and I think he might make a move on a Gadbury that gets held up one more time. couple more GTOs down the road, although we're not dealing with the full scale of the Doom pack from earlier. So as you're seeing, this is getting a little bit easier. Jacob Reed gets a huge run out of the turn. 3 cars in tow. It's actually a 4th. Baron Grau has made it too. Wells is fast. He's got that inside line. He tries to outbrake. Tries to hit that apex. It's going to be fast. A little bit of contact on exit. We should have a first black flag of the race, by the way. Xavi Riccardi hitting that 17x incident limit for a driver. We have seen contact from him. A lot of off tracks do start right up as we may go 3 wide. Not quite. It's Martinez on the outside. Jack Wells bumping, and Baron Grau takes the gang.
Yes, thank you, says Baron Grau. You two just keep on fighting. I'm going to take this as we're still on board with the drone. You're staying all the fighting. Gabri wants this. He wants this, and you know, with a damaged car, he is a wounded animal. And wounded animals keep fighting until the end. And that's what he's doing right now. He's trying to find moves, trying to find ways, trying to use the slipstream. He's doing all he can. And he just goes for a late lunge there on Ian Haycox into turn 7 to try and make sure he keeps up with Baron. Baron now up into 2nd place. I was going to say 4th, but he started this lap in 4th after that double overtake down into AMSAG. Gets it done. More issues as well. Gabri, that's not a move to make. That is not a move to make, and he pushes Greatrick out the way.
The chase is on. Jack Wells has a big run. That contact was a little bit unnecessary though, and that's going to slow him down. And now Dolson is right on the rear and wants to try and make it happen. To the right, off to the left. There's a GTO that's going to stop you. Not going to stop Jack Wells, who makes the bump again, and another off the side of the track. There's some pent-up aggression between these two, even when there's space on the straights.
Boys, this isn't DTM. This is prototype racing. This is dangerous. I know you two have got a little bit of issue out there. I know it's been very heated, but there are moves here and door banging that is just not acceptable, and I've got to call it as I see it. It's a little bit dangerous here. Something's going to give. And you look at Lars Dolson, he may have lost that position to Serato. I think he's happy. I think he realizes what's happening up ahead. And his years of expertise, he's one of the veterans of this series that you've got to feel that he may be seeing in the writing on the wall. Sometimes you get that feeling when you're in the car that something's going to happen, and it just feels like it between the cars at front. So it's going to happen, especially this Jack Wells with a very late dive into 9, and Jochen return works for Jack Wells. That caught Gabri Martinez napping, and after all the banging, he just delivered a pure racing move.
The racing up here never, ever stops. Jacob Reed has sort of gotten away. We've gotten away into the distance, although GTO's going to change that at point. So it's Baron and Grau, but wherever drivers separate, they can more combine again. In absolute carnage, there's still contact here from Carato and then Martinez. They're just bumping each other again like nothing else. We really are doing some DTM stock car racing over here in these things. I'm amazed all these cars are still in one piece. Seems to be everybody wants a different part of it.
Oh, I don't think everybody wants a different part, and Lau slides out, not on purpose there. Slides out and we're 3 wide. We're 3 wide coming down. Something's got to give. Seamus almost getting caught up there from Gabri. They're all trying to find spots. Andreas Schuster as well in the picture-in-picture, trying to hold off Mickey Freeze and Jack Davis Pickett and Arturas Kundalis, as well as trying to make sure get through the traffic. And in fact, you'll see right now, that's where they all are. Everybody takes a different line. Everybody takes a different road. 3 wide for a brief moment. And Lance Dolson finds the gap, and so does Seamus Power. Jack's been forced wide, trying to keep it going. I think that's going to be a slowdown. It is for Serato, it is for Friesen, and the words we've not said yet for the GTOs: traffic given, traffic taketh away.
It almost feels like I hate saying this on a race like this, because the GTOs have an amazing racing among themselves all week. It definitely feels like they have sort of been the obstacle that has defined this race. They've not been having as much back and forth themselves, but their presence has sort of changed things. Even if their races haven't been the closest throughout, we have still have a few battles down the road, but really it's sort of been a bit of an obstacle course, and I love to see it, but I also love to see it when they have tracks that really suit their strengths. Today it's been a little bit of a dodge the GTP rodeo. Still a few close battles. Here's Mickey Friesen on board, back of a train of 4, and up ahead there's a 3-car battle for that lead as well. But yet again, getting past and getting a speed differential here is quite hard, so you're sort of waiting for a chance to potentially open up. There's more GTPs just sort of fly around him just as he's about to take his line. That sort of makes these gaps when they happen at the bad time on this sector.
Oh my word, we almost just had the lead GTO taken out. As you were talking about that, I was thinking, oh yeah, by the way, we've just got 3 cars trying to win the race right now in GTOs in front of these guys. And as I watched that, I almost saw JD Rodriguez get taken out by a back marker. It has not happened. So that's all right. As you see the top 3, we've looked at that 4-car battle in the GTOs. Here's the other big battle. And somehow these 3 haven't really changed for the last 20 minutes. Yeah, there's 15 minutes left in the race. Where have you been? Because this is Cal Young still trying to find a way through JD Rodriguez. Johan Van Hicks getting held up a little bit from some of the drivers right behind us. Not the best I'd say rejoin to the series. He had a week or so off, just a little bit of a break. And Van Hicks not exactly looking, and got a bit of a damaged car right behind Arturas Kundalis trying to go. They're going to be 3 wide for a moment as Togo goes by. Jack will have the inside as they come through into 4, but the outside's working for Arturas. Will it keep working? Still keep working. The run's going to work here for Arturas. Schuster's going on by. He can play havoc here. Who he wants to get the slipstream to, he doesn't. Side by side, still goes Schuster, and goes Pickett and Kundalis, and Jack has to just yield. You talk about DTM, Howie, I talk about DTM. This is proper touring car racing.
I thought Friesen was maybe going to get on the inside of that, but the run wasn't quite there to deliver it. I'm just sort of keeping an eye on that purple car as he's looking for chances. He just looks for ways to dive up to the inside. He just looks for them, and he hasn't quite gotten them yet, but he certainly isn't someone that isn't content with that placement right now. Second black flag, David De Silva. They're going to start adding up because you're going to be going off track a lot around here, as you've mentioned. Jacob Reed and Farron Grau with big gaps to themselves. Jack Wells as well. It's really Laust Olsen as the first GTP that sort of has to deal with harassment from other cars back here. Seamus Power, Fernando Corrado and Gabby Martinez are all in the chase. Martinez from 1st to 7th over the course of this race. It kind of has gone from good to bad down here as plenty more traffic on the field. There's Johan Van Hicks getting past around the outside 2 ways. This lead battle might reignite.
It has reignited. JD Rodriguez is still trying to serve a slowdown, and still trying to serve a slowdown while battling side by side with Van Hicks. And he'll have the inside here for turn 6 and still serving a slowdown. And he finally gets it served, but what time have they lost to Cal Young? Did not see where the slowdown was at. But if it was a slowdown that he's only just served, I'm going to say it was at turn 3. So that's just going to give a little bit of an idea. But now Van Hicks has to work with JD because they're losing on Cal. And Cal doesn't really want to be on his own. Well, he does want to be on his own. He wants to be leading the race and winning the race. But ideally would like a little bit of help in case there's a fuel catastrophe at the end. There shouldn't be, knock on wood, but never say never. But that gap is growing and it will shrink. Don't worry, it will shrink out there. So don't need to think about traffic going again. I'm just looking where Jacob Reed is, and he's just coming through another run of traffic. These 4 cars are now in a little bit of tandem. It feels like it's old school super speedway on a NASCAR. Get your partner and do-si-do. Schuster and Kundalis is going on. Friesen and Spickett is going not where Mickey and Jack want to be, but they're still in with it, providing the top 2 don't do anything. The other 2 don't do anything crazy, and they don't.
Train after train after train, the GTOs are starting to very much deliver. Jack David Spickett, back of this group, now been shuffled back just a fair bit. Didn't start 11th flow, so has made up places in time. And what's very interesting is I haven't seen many GTOs get killed. There's been contact, there's been sort of a little bit of argy-bargy and a few errors, but I haven't seen any really just get sent out of the race. And in fact, the slowest GTO is 1 lap back, so really it hasn't happened terribly much throughout this race. There's been argy-bargy, there's been tension, but actually, remarkably, everybody's coming home in one piece right now in this class.
Howie, I've been knocking on wood and I don't have any wood nearby, so I'm smashing my head right now because you've just said we haven't seen a crash in the GTOs. I don't want to see it, and if it's a curse, I know who I'm blaming right now, Jack David Spickett. Continues on, however, still just losing some time out there, and I know that he's having a little bit of issues with the shifter, so I wonder if he's just got a little bit of a hardware issue right now. Ricciardi comes out in front, still a little bit of damage, but should be able to get past him. Here's one thing on a track like this. If you've got damage, usually if you can't keep a line straight and get past the GTO safely, you basically just yield, and oh my word, they almost went 3 wide. Mickey Friesen almost went that 3 wide. Schuster's going to try to do this around the outside. He can't. It was Kundelis who had to go around the outside. Schuster gets that position right away. Ricciardi does get on by, but again, if you've got the damage on the car, sometimes it's better to just pull it off because this is a track of speed, and if you're a GTP without the speed, well, you're just a GT.
Battles really heating up for the lead of class. Cal Young, JD Rodriguez, and Joran Van Hicks could make this chase down to the line, and that's not even discounting the one we have on screen right now, where Mickey Friesen said he was going to try and make up some places. He has been slowly crawling up these places, and I think there's another possibly to be moved for in that purple boxed in neutrals car. I've seen the back of that many times as I come to lap him. Just on the bumper, doesn't commit for now. You see him just stick his nose up the inside every conceivable opportunity, as if he's just trying to tell the car it has, like, I will take it if you give it to me. So be very, very careful. Getting all these passes done quite effectively. Put Dennis behind. Doesn't look like he's getting the same kind of run. So it's looking pretty good for him. He could make up another place in time.
Could be. We'll wait and see. It's interesting. The first half of this race was dedicated all to the GTPs. Now it's the GTOs. And we see Mickey really going late on the brake. They got a slow car coming on by and could have made that move. Almost got turned around there from Kundelis by accident. But that was Gabo Gombus, who just went a little bit too wide coming around turn 3. And Mickey had that move. I don't know if he would have been able to make the move around the outside of turn 3. Would have been an all-time move had he done it. And now Kundelis almost getting himself tied up right behind. And he just loses a little bit of time. And Jack David Spickett's going to say hello. And hello, Noah Lundberg. Nice to see you once again. Haven't seen you all race. You've not had the best of races, and you're back in this. It's not where you want to be, but you've got 4 cars in front of you. You've got a chance still for a 4th place, maybe a top 5. But if these two go side by side, you won't be able to do that. GTP right behind Lundberg as well. Going to take this 3 wide. Lundberg could have made it 3 wide. That would have been very dangerous to take it 3 wide going to Rin. He's just hoping these two get it sorted. Kundelis and Spickett still side by side. They've been side by side for about 4 corners now. Something has to give. It does. Lundberg's going to look for the run.
The little runs you get in this car, they do seem to add up. And Jack David Spickett on that outside line will be a whole lot slower, but that's going to give up the place to Lundberg. There's not too much competition for it, as our top drivers are now flying around just trying to get this race done. 8 seconds on Jacob Reed. He's well and truly taking control of this race, and now we can take it a little bit more relaxed with these cars. I think Lundberg still to the inside. Bit of a lock-up there, but David Spickett's all over the bouncy curb in the middle, which means that's going to slow him down. We had a big crash, a big crash. It's 2 GTPs. That looks rough.
Yeah, Daniel Gomez tried to go around the outside and actually lost control of the car, trying to get on the throttle, and went into the side of Hamilton Barrera Ruiz, and they came together. Cal Young lost the lead to Johan Van Hicks, and Van Hicks made the move going down into turn 4. So this now just opens up the possibility that Van Hicks will start to pull away. Had the fastest lap last time and still looking, but never back out Cal Young. JD Rodriguez still behind, but even though these two are battling, he was unable to catch up. So wait to see what he does as well. Mickey Friesen, I just keep put my eyes on Mickey Friesen. Almost went around the outside of turn 9. I know Daniel's got so many places to look. I was just looking at my timing tower. I thought Friesen was going to be able to make a move there. Not at the moment. Here he goes now to get past Andreas Schuster. Crucial move for him to get this. He gets it by him. Look at you, Bane. You're cool, calm, you're collected. You get it on. Took the inside. Very nicely done. Get back to the lead, though, because Cal Young retaking the lead. I'll tell you what, everywhere you look, Give a hat off to the director. There's battles going everywhere.
I don't know how you follow a race like this. Do your best, pray and hope. He's doing a great job as ever. A little bit of contact on the rear at Cao Yong. Van Hicks just about misses the braking zone. Car stable enough to keep it together. Mickey Friesen getting mobbed as he tries to pass Schuster. Gap left in the middle's not being taken. 14 just going to dive up the inside instead, and now another one's coming right for it. I keep thinking something horrible is going to happen between these drivers, and there's no space. It's passing in the grass. That's no Lundberg, by the way. Is that our first? Yeah, that's our first one.
You can't.
Where was the word?
You cursed us. You cursed us, Howie. Unfortunately, Lundberg went to go around the outside, went to go around a GTP that was going slow, and the GTP lit up the tyres and went straight into him. That's so unfortunate there for the championship defender. Sorry, Serato trying to get past Seamus Power as well, trying to get past Lars Olsen. A lap GTP that's going on by as the drivers come through. They've only got 5 minutes left to go. And that's going to contribute to about 3, maybe 4 laps for them. I'll call it 3 now. Back 28 of a possible 31 to score, actually. My math is wrong. Still looking. This is the close battle. Also close battles going on everywhere. Mickey Friesen in the GTOs. You'll see it on the timing tower now that he retakes into P4. Serato continues to look. Keep an eye out as well as Serato still looking for battles. Jack Wells is trying to catch up to Farron Grau. That could be interesting. And Serato, his teammate, Grau's teammate, tried the over-under. Did not work in. Too much throttle there. Had a little bit of a tyre slide. He's going to have to wait.
Time running out. Patience running thin. It's going to be around 3 to 4 laps for GTPs to get around this circuit, and then we're done. Everybody's looking for every gap they possibly can on the track. Still, the battle for first in GTO is electric. Still, that battle for fourth in GTO could still light up, and in about for 10th here with Roman Bello, who's sort of getting Shadi Ahmed in front and Josephine Becker behind, and both drivers trying to cynically give each other just the minimum amount of space they need around these turns. Fastest lap of the race is Jacob Reed, a 14-second gap. He's turned that incredible battle early on to an absolute domination as this race is approaching an end for him.
He's coming down very shortly. Josephine Becker trying to hold off Roman Bello and Shadi Ahmad. And I wonder if she's going to be able to do it. Takes an early turn in there into turn 9. And a smart turn in. Just takes all of the ability, all of any extra line, and allows herself to keep that momentum. And the man from Greenland, or Hells from Greenland, still looking to go places, but nowhere left to go. Time is running out. They're going to have 2 more laps after this. Johan Van Hicks, he's got 2 more laps, and he would love another lap or even more. This could be big for the championship, remember. We're at that crunch stage of the championship, remember. Lundberg is out of the race. Van Hicks was 9 points behind. This would be his 7th race of the season. This will be a race that no matter what happens, as long as he finishes, he will take the lead. Gabri Martinez almost cuts up Cao Yun there, but hopefully no one yet hurt. Van Hicks looking for the run. JD has tried to catch up. You see him just there, the foramen right in the background. Not a lot he can do, though. He's just going to have to hope these 2 just battle side by side for just a little bit longer.
Make it 2 laps to go for these cars when they cross the line, unless there is some magic when it comes to the lap timing, and it's looking desperate now. Here comes Van Hicks. He seems to have the run every once in a while. Hasn't been able to truly convert. A little bit of bumping, just a light sort of contact you get away with. Van Hicks takes the lead for now, but it might not be at the end of that. That GTO in the middle with a lap car, so JD Rodriguez in the red car is the next one for position. Outbreak on the outside for Cao Yun. Doesn't usually work, but he does have good pace.
He's done it! Around the outside of turn 3, you're Cao Yun for the lead, and they were battling so much. JD Rodriguez is back here, and the foramen wants the outside for turn 4, but he won't get it. Van Hicks has to take it, almost goes into the back, and he has to hold the car, locks the car up, loses P2. Not what he wanted. He did not work out. The Cow was a little bit slower into the corner this time, and he's going to have to keep on fighting Seamus Power. Also trying to get past Fernando Serato, because he's lost the position, has Serato, and he's still going. Lars Olsen right ahead of them, and he's now checked out. It could be these two for the line, but there's only one more lap for them. And that means there's only one more lap for this man. And I think it was horrible that I called him the silver standard earlier. He really is taking that gold standard platform away from Valenteo. Maybe we can cut that title up and give it to both of them. He's got 17 seconds to play with, and he's just keeping it calm out there. Doesn't need to do anything risky. You're not missing anything elsewhere. They're still looking to try and make some moves, and there's not a lot of moves to go. JD Rodriguez, though, this is what he's looking for. Van Hicks is going to try and go around the outside. He's going to try and do this around the outside, like Cal Young did, but late braking almost into the side. JD Rodriguez, he's got a black flag on the final lap, sorry. He's got a black flag. This man's going to take the white and black. That's known as the checkered flag. Jacob Reed wins at Red Bull Ring.
I rewatched that black flag a few times, and that was the tiniest move over. Also, Togo Hisada picking one up after a big wreck with a GTO. Dare I say, the big wreck finally happened. Up front with these GTOs, Cal Young only has a few turns left to get this done and was 6/10 behind. It's looking pretty good for him, but anything can happen. We've seen surprises emerge already. We don't get to the instant limit of drivers going around the track, but it's been a bit of a dramatic journey for GTOs. I think I've never quite seen them harassed as much on a track, but Cal Young is loaded up to take the win in class here at the Red Bull Ring. It'll be Nicky Friesen that has to adopt that third after Rodriguez is sent back.
Now takes the victory, but what that a big drama. JD Rodriguez, it was a black flag. That could actually give Nicky Friesen, if he holds on to P4, and he will, that could give him P3, and that could be big for the championship. That's going to be interesting to see later on. Josephine Becker is now going to get some more spots. She's looking for a great result, and she'll get it. P9 ahead of Roman Bello and Shadi Ahmad. We're still waiting to see, because when every car has crossed the line and every car is considered finished, that for JD Rodriguez, if he's not served a penalty, will have to go on by. Togo Hisada is going to try and limp the car home. He wanted a bit of fun at 2 o'clock in the morning in Japan. He did not get it, but Cal Young, he gets it. He gets the driving. He gets everything. And Jack Wells is just behind him, just saying, well done, champ. You're there, and that's going to be very, very good for Cal Young for the championship and for Johan Van Hicks as drivers just coming by to finish the race. And there it is officially. JD Rodriguez drops to 12th place because of that. Did not serve the black flag, and he takes a 60-second or thereabout penalty. It does move Nicky Friesen up into third and Schuster into fourth, but we'll get to the GTOs shortly. Let's get to the GTPs. It was carnage out there for the GTPs, but one name stands on top, and he's got the number 1 on his car for a reason. Jacob Reed holds off everybody by dominance. Farron Grau's second, 17.5 seconds behind. Jack Wells gets into third with Laus Olsen in fourth. Then it's Fernando Serrato. Really good drive today for Serrato in fifth. Seamus Power takes sixth. Gabriel Martinez still with that damage, finishes in seventh, but the gap between the top 7 to the rest of the field. Andre Felipe Diaz, 8th. David Ricciardi will be 9th. Togo Hisada did not complete the final lap, so he'll be classified as 10th as a lap down, as will Alexander Good. Victor Rodriguez Carrera in 12th. Harry George will be 13th. Brendan Lim, after that moment, comes back out. He will be 14th. And then the retirees. Ruiz in 15th. Mura in 16th. Gomez in 17th. Ruiz again. Hamilton Pereira Ruiz in 18th. Thiago Pereira will be 19th. Yuri Wickstrom will be 20th. And just on the last 2 pages, Fabio Dan in 21st. 22nd, Hugo Salvador. You don't have retirees, Howie. You've got a nice clean slate.
I think there might be 1 or 2, but Cal Young takes the win over Johan Van Hicks of Nicky Friesen and Andreas Schuster close over the line. Jack David Spickett finishes 5th ahead of Josh Brain, Andreas Kundelas, Josephine Becker, Roman Bello, and Shadi Ahmad. Behind, Martin Krajik takes up P11. JD Rodriguez, I'm not sure if that's before or after the black flag. He's showing up 12th for me on my side, but he does have a black flag on his side. Ian Haycox finishes behind him, though, with Aitor Sians Galindo in 14th, Brandon White in 15th. Then it's Forben Polik, Fabian Jumbluff, Richard Hinneman, Johnny Berg, and Cameron M. Wilson. Then I think I'm going to count possibly 3 crashes in this field, but David De Silva, Eugenio Massa, and David Tomaski absolutely made it. Then Gabor Gombos, and then Emilio Dirachi and Noel Lundberg are the final 2 at the back of this field. That number 2 car dropping all the way to the back. Don't want to see that iRacing loss.
No, you don't want to be seeing that. We're getting ready for some interviews, and I think it's quite funny. I'm just seeing who's outside the door. It's almost like the school detention room. You just look outside to see who's there. It's the 2 most experienced drivers in the history of IMSA Vintage broadcast. And we'll start with the man who came home 4th in the GTPs, because it's Laus Olsen who I'm going to open the door and say, Mr. Olsen, come in. Laus, that looked a very fun / very chaotic race.
Please repeat. I didn't get what you said.
Very fun or very chaotic? It looked like it was both.
Oh, that was a really tough race. I think from when we hit the GTOs the first time, and then the remainder of the race, it was just constant traffic. And as soon as I thought I got a little space to those behind, then a GTO would intervene, and they were right back at my tail again. So that was a bit too exciting for my comfort.
Check your heart rate, and take it easy tonight, I feel, because there was some very close, very tight battling in front of you at one stage. You were seeing the carnage happening between Jacob, Jack, and Gabri. And at one point, I said on the broadcast, you're probably just standing back and letting them do it. And I think that's what you did, because you got ahead of them. But you saw that happening. What was your thought process when you saw everyone just really going hell-bent for leather?
Yeah, to be honest, I think I didn't have quite the pace to keep up. So the only reason I was that close was because they were fighting internally, and later on also with the GTOs. But I was hoping to stay close, and if something happened to capitalize on it, because I thought that that would be my only chance to advance. That would actually be if something happened to those in front of me, because pace-wise they were a little quicker.
Well, they were quicker, but you were quickest, because you were able to get past them, just beating out Fernando by 0.078 out there. So a very close one. Before we go, Laus, how is the arm? Because it's almost like Laus tracker for the last few weeks. We've seen you coming back out. I know the cast is due to come off, but it looks like you've got a lot of that movement back, because it's just nice to see you back racing as comfortable as you have been.
Yeah, thanks. It's going way better. I can do a lot more with that hand now, and I can also hold the wheel and help steering a little. Still not able to follow the wheel around to the outer positions that put too much strain on it. But for most of it, actually, the cast is now feels in the way for what I can actually do with the hand. So I'm looking forward to until Monday, where it finally gets off, and then I'll waiting to see how much I have to to train it up again to get some strength back.
Yeah, it'd be one of those things. You'll be screaming for it to come off. It will come off and then go, put it back on. I don't have the strength. Well, we hope to see you next week. Hopefully, if everything's all right, Laus. But once again, it's great seeing you once again. A fantastic P4 out there.
Yeah, thanks a lot. See you.
Laus Olsen coming home in 4th today. And I went from the second most experienced driver to the most experienced driver, and we didn't talk a lot about him, but Aitor Sintes Galindo is still having his GTO renaissance. He's alongside Howie Burrows.
Right, Tor, some Saturday, eh? I mean, that surely was one of the more chaotic races as a GTO driver.
Absolutely, yeah. It was quite the re-entry. It kept you waiting, I would say so. But yeah, it's been. I was just chuckling at the fact that I think Greg said something like the most experienced drivers are waiting on the. It's like, well, one of those jokes. I love it. I love Greg. Right, back to me. Yeah, it was an interesting race. I mean, to be fair, I did almost no practice. The wheel wasn't even bolted until 20 minutes before for the race, and I was going to sit it out. But then again, I said, you know what? Let's do it, but let's turn the relative off and not think about the results. And to be fair, it was quite the enjoyable experience. Again, the Audi is also, if you master it, it's a very enjoyable to drive. So yeah, not the best result in the universe, P14, but it's a positive. I survived. I had no incident. So yeah, good race all around.
So getting lapped by that many cars that quickly, how often do you have to react to it? And also, how do you really get battles done with the other GTOs around there? Because it's not really a track where you put up massive speed differences, but battles did build up over time.
Well, first off, yeah, it's a short track, and if it's, I think it was 45, 46, 50 cars, it's still a mess. It was quite, I would say, balanced. I would say a very I had people to fight with. Kudos to Brandon White. I think we have a lot of battles, and well, it was fun. Yeah, that's the guy in front. And yeah, all around, you have to like be careful. Sometimes people are fighting for position. I saw the top 5 of GTPs are fighting each other. It's like, yeah, Heitor, be careful. You're on VIP position, but yeah, no shenanigans or anything. But yeah, and then again, it's it's a track that it's quite simple to drive as well. So also that's why I'm also here. Because with 10 minutes of practice, couldn't do a lot of practice, and it was like the Nürburgring. Nope. But yeah, all around, I think it's a fairly good-ish track. Even though there's the standards, sometimes I talk for experience right now, are not up the standards of IMSA, but I think it was a good enough experience for most of the field today, and yeah, we have to be happy about that, to be fair.
Few upcoming tracks are all a whole lot slower. This is about the last high-speed circuit. It's a lot of heavy sort of aero and heavy grip-dependent tracks on the schedule. Is there anything you're excited for, and are you going to stick around in the GTO to see it through?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the GTO, that's for sure. Because once I discovered how to mostly drive and deal with the upshifts, it's a very enjoyable car, even more so than the Nissan, I would say. Even though some of my teammates gonna disagree with that, but it's a very fun car to drive, and I'm definitely gonna go to the next. Oh yeah, there was a big incident, and the Audi is also very enjoyable to drive as well. So I'm gonna probably go a couple more rounds. I'm not gonna fight for anything other than try to enjoy the experience, the drive. Try to have a nice fight with someone who wants to, and yeah. Be around again as usual. Be around on the community. The community deserves. I mean, I love the community. I think the community loves me. So yeah, I want to be still involved with it. So yeah, looking forward for next week. I think it's Jingaring, so Audi track. So it's gonna be interesting on the traffic wise. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, always good to see you on the field and have a chat to you after the race. Looking forward to seeing more in the rest of the series.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the interview. And yeah, shout out to everybody and see you next week.
Well, Aitor Sintes Galindo there. I almost said his name wrong there. Been talking to him for 2 years. I should be getting that right. But thank you to Aitor and the IMSA Vintage community for bringing us back once again. And of course, thank you to Howie and Daniel. Daniel's going to take a very long rest now. And Dougie, of course, for the cameras. Sim Racers Republic is still going on. You don't want to miss the end of that with Alex and Joseph. That's looking like a really good end to the race. But if you want more IMSA Vintage, well, we're back next week, of course, and the tracks get better and better. Hungaroring is the next one. We've actually got a run of F1 tracks up until the final race of the season, so that's going to be very interesting for the Hungaroring next weekend, Valentine's Day. Just tell your partner I'm staying with you. And I'm watching IMSA Vintage with you, and we're going to watch it together for a date night. There is more racing going on this weekend, though, because we do have the Lotus 79s tomorrow at Suzuka, and then we do it all over again. Tuesday, 10th of February, or Monday, the 9th of February in America. Porcherone Club will be at Road Atlanta. Skip Barbers will also be at Suzuka on the East Circuit. And then the Lotus 49s will be at Donington Park National as we start another weekend of classic racing. But the championship continues to flip-flop. Nobody wants to win. Nobody wants to lead. Someone's going to have to do it as we come into race 9. But until then, race hard and race clean. We will see you on the track.